Hi students, now I will explain how to write uh, assignment 2 comprehensive lab report for introduction to civil engineering. So maximum marks for this is 100 marks for each lab report. The date of submission lab report 1 is 26th November and the lab report 2 is 5th December. Okay, the fundamental objectives are identify and analyze the properties of building material, discuss experimental setup, procedure and results. Outcomes, discuss the characteristics, properties and use of materials, which is learning outcome 2. Use experimentation to model scientific problems and analyze results. Now coming to task, the task is divided into two parts. Like students are required to submit two comprehensive lab report through Turnitin. The lab report will be assessed for 100 marks and finally these individual marks 9 marks per each lab report. The first one is a report on properties of sand. Report on properties of sand includes that the first four experiments, like to determine the properties of sand, what are the tests you have conducted. So during your lab session, to determine the properties of sand, you have conducted silt test, bulking of sand, bulk density, sieve analysis and fineness modulus of fine aggregate. So you have conducted these four experiments to determine the properties of sand, which is your lab report 1. So using the observations, calculations, results, concept for these four experiments, prepare the lab report 1. And coming to lab report 2, experiment 5 slump cone test, experiment 6 compaction factor test and experiment 7 elongation and flakiness index. Use the details or use the observations, calculations, results, conclusions, methodologies for this experiment 5, 6 and 7. Prepare a lab report on workability of concrete. Okay, and again apart from this lab reports, every week you are submitting your lab template. So we have total 8 experiments, so you have to submit 8 lab templates. So to give chance to students like any absentees or any missing of the experiment, I will select the best 7, like who in which you got best marks. I will select those best 7 lab reports and the least mark report will be removed and the best 7 will be considered. And so 9 to 18 plus 7 marks, so total 25 marks for this lab report coursework. Okay, these are the tasks, the same thing which I have explained you. The report format, these are the page margins and you have to use 12 font 12 size Times New Roman for writing and 14 size for headings. What are the spacing you have to given? uh, Chapter number 16 headings 14 subsections 12 with bold. So how you have to write page numbers, list of tables, list of figures, how you have to use Roman numbers and all. This is very important. The reference must use the Harvard referencing format and arranged in order. I will try to upload a guideline for this reference, how to write Harvard references on the Moodle as soon as possible. So how to write figure number and table number. The figure title is centered at bottom of the figure and the table name is centered at the top of the table. So report section, cover page, table of contents, introduction, methodology, conclusion. So cover page, refer to sample. I will upload a cover page on the Moodle. And table of contents, what should be there in the table of contents? Table of contents, list of figures, list of tables, all chapter topics should be written like this. This is the example of the table of contents. See, this is the example. So in introduction, what you have to write? This section is the background of the report content. It summarizes the overview of the report and how the report is organized. See this. It summarizes the overview of the report and how the report is organized. In the first paragraph, you write in general, what are the general properties of materials, like we discussed about mechanical properties and physical properties of materials. In general, what are the properties of materials. Then as we are dealing with fine aggregate now, discuss about properties of fine aggregate. Okay, so in the first paragraph you discuss in general what are the properties of materials, then what are the properties of fine aggregate. Once you complete the first paragraph, in the second paragraph, according to your assignment, to determine the properties of material, in for the lab report 1 it is fine aggregate, for the lab report 2 that will be concrete and all other materials you use like fine aggregate, coarse aggregate, cement, water and all. So for the lab report 1, the second paragraph, how you determine the properties of materials, like for the lab report 1, the properties of fine aggregate you determine by using the 4 experiments: silt test, bulking of sand, bulk density of sand, and sieve analysis and fineness modulus. Coming to lab report 2, you determine the properties of materials using slump cone test, compaction factor test, flakiness and elongation index. Okay, now coming to methodology. So describe the context of the report, like see the experimental setups and procedure. Like I explained you, if it is the content, methodology is 2.1 silt test, 2.2 bulking of sand, 2.3 bulk density of sand, 2.4 experimental 2.4 is sieve analysis and fineness modulus. For lab report 2, 2.1 slump cone test, 2.2 compaction factor test, 2.3 flakiness and elongation index. So you should write like this: the first, experimental setups and procedures has to be discussed, observation, calculations and results of the experiments has to be provided, and you should include tabular forms and figures and graphs. So the following are the details in writing of the body. The headings are informative and descriptive. Discuss the conceptual framework of the topic. Elaborate the concept by presenting subtopics relevant to the main topic. Like main topic is methodology and subtopics is 2.1 silt test, 2.2 bulking of sand, like that. Conclusion. As you all of you know how to write the conclusion, so write separate conclusions. Like if the conclusion is 3, so 3.1 experiment 1 conclusion, 3.2 experiment 2, 3.3 experiment 3, 3.4 experiment number 4. So in everywhere results should be compared with British standard codes. Report should include a concluding statement regarding the subject matter of the study. So references, as I told you about Harvard style references. Guidelines, again the same thing. I extended the date and if possible I will give you one more day time to submit the proposal of this work. So everywhere the proposal should include coursework input. Like say for example, if the coursework is this, what is the input given? Need to submit a lab report, comprehensive lab report, which discuss about the properties of sand. For the properties of sand, this is the basic coursework input. The coursework don't write only 2 lines, explain it. Coursework outputs, so you have to determine the properties of sand during lab sessions or something what you have done. Summarize the outputs, like what are the expected outputs of the report, like conclusions of how the properties are using this and this. So tools, what are the tools you required? Like you can write the 4 experiment names. So to determine the properties of sand, these tests has to be conducted. Already we conducted this in lab sessions. So time plan, you have only 10 days time. So you can write in the first 2 days, 2 days, 2 days, or 1 day, 1 day. You can divide your plan. Like you find out the tasks. So I require the tasks, like what are the activities to be done to complete this coursework assignment and what time you require to complete this. So like that you prepare a time plan. Again the same rules and regulations, plagiarism policy, please check MEC plagiarism policy. And coming to late submission policy, 5% of the obtained mark for each working day. So coming to marks, the report quality 10 marks, introduction 20 marks, Methodology 40 marks. Discussion, conclusion and references 30 marks. If there are any discussions, then discuss. If not, conclusions and references will be 30 marks. So this is the mark sheet where we are going to mark. This is marking criteria. Okay, so 100 marks will be scaled to 9 marks for each lab report. I hope you understand this coursework assignment and how to write the proposal. So proposal, please, it doesn't take much time, like it takes only 5-10 minutes of your time, or maximum half an hour if you sit, if you go in detail with the coursework proposal. So please don't delay it, submit the coursework proposal as soon as possible, because you have a really less time. I already explained you this in the classroom, and I already explained in the lab also. But for the betterment of the students, I am recording this video and uploading, so that I hope this will help you. Inshallah, everyone will get good marks in this. All the best, students.